So you can imagine the poor dude sitting here in the tower just waiting for something to fly over, and you, that poor guy standing there having to shoot all of them down.
We're Matteo and Misha. We are currently pursuing our goal of pulling off the ultimate Italian road trip, traveling to all 20 regions of Italy. And we've started off in Sicily. In our last episode, we explored one of Sicily's hidden gems, the once thriving cave settlement of Grotta Mangiapane, and got a feel of what life was like over 100 years ago. Today, we are in the city of salt and sail, Trapani. A port to the Aegadian Islands and North Africa, we find ourselves visiting the most important museum on the island, stroll through Europe's oldest salt pans, and feast on two of the region's famous dishes.
We are currently on Via Fardella because we have made it to Trapani. And for those of you who have done an in-depth research of us, you would know that our surname is Fardella. So it's quite coincidental. Question of the day. What building do you think is behind me? I'll give you 2 seconds. It's a cathedral. Good job if you guessed a cathedral. This is the Cathedral of San Lorenzo, the main church here in Trapani. Originally constructed in 1421, it has been modified several times, with the last restoration happening in the 18th century. This is the first time I've ever been inside a big cathedral where there's a net at the middle of the dome to catch all the falling plaster and paint. The street we are on right now, Vittorio Emanuele, right at the end, you will find Palazzo Senatorio, the town hall. The clock on the right is one of the oldest astronomical clocks in Europe, dating back to 1596. Next to the town hall, you will find Porta Oscura and the Tower of Clocks. Porta Oscura is the oldest entrance to the city, one of only 4 entrances that reaches the urban center. The Trapani port is a major gateway to Africa as well as the Aegadian Islands. Tunisia is only 180 kilometers from this port. This port is vitally important for the export of salt and wine. And you can see by the different ferries that are here, some of them go to Lampedusa, some of them go to the islands. So unlike a lot of the other cities that we've been to, Trapani doesn't actually have that much to see in terms of historical or cultural things. And so we're trying to find the few small things that we can actually go and visit. First beach impressions of Trapani is that you have to stick to the beaches that they tell you should probably go to, because if you don't, there's this.
Trapani is beautiful. You have a very nice coastline, but you can tell that a lot of this stuff
unfortunately looks kind of run down. Like they haven't really restored the outsides of the buildings, so things look kind of crumbly, which is unfortunate because the buildings are really cool. But yeah, you could just tell it's not as restored as some other cities.
Fun fact, Trapani has really big seagulls. Something I did not expect in the city is that around every little alleyway you turn, there's a smell of something cooking, something good, like something beautiful. Right now here it smells like they're frying donuts. Near where we live, it always smells like roast chicken. I don't know where it's coming from, but I actually haven't smelled anything bad in the city. It just seems to smell like things are being made all the time. This not so cute building behind me is known as Torre di Ligny, Tower of Ligny. Built in 1671 on the extreme tip of Trapani, the tower is in a strategic position to better protect the coast. In World War II, it was an anti-aircraft position here on the coast protecting Trapani. It looks pretty bland, but apparently there's an awesome archaeological museum inside, which I forgot to look up the times, and so we won't be visiting that today. Plus it looks like there's a big storm coming and we are very far from home. So this is like the third Spider-Man movie, never returning home or never back home or far away from home because Avengers, you know the drill. And over here we have the steepest steps in Sicily as of 1862. That's ridiculous.
That's a step? I would literally fall on my face.
For all the other history nerds out there, it's a weird thought just thinking that this used to just protect the coast against like planes flying in and trying to bomb the city. Trapani was heavily bombed by the Allies in World War II, and so you can imagine the poor dude sitting here in the tower just waiting for something to fly over, and you, that poor guy standing there having to shoot all of them down. However, they didn't give you enough bullets. There's a lot of planes, and well, sadly you let some through because otherwise the first line of Trapani wouldn't be heavily bombed by the Allies in World War II. So whoever was in this tower in the 1940s probably didn't do a very good job, as he let some planes through. Another cool visual observation from here is that out in the distance you can see a lonely lighthouse on a little rock, and then if you look to the left of us, there's another lighthouse over there. So I'm guessing these are the lighthouses that like communicated with this tower. And behind me you have Favignana on the left and Levanzo on the right, which are part of the Aegadian Islands. One thing I've discovered walking around these Sicilian cities is that you can kind of tell how things have shifted throughout time. Like, we find churches on pretty much every single corner. But if you think about it, back in the day, it was like a massive thing to have these churches, and the upkeep and the money would all go towards them. This church was built in 1619. And by the sounds of it, after about 50 years of them inhabiting it, it kind of got abandoned. And then in the last 150 years, the town council actually bought it. And that's why it's just sitting here today, because it doesn't actually belong to the Catholic Church or anything. It's just a part of the city, and that's where the story kind of ends.
Okay, so it started to rain, but we've sought refuge under this street of trees that seems to be overgrown right above us. So this whole street is dry.
Visiting Trapani for one day is definitely worth it. Staying in Trapani to see all the other place, 100% recommended.
Also worth it. It's a great place located. It's like a perfect location to get to Marsala, to get to Erice, to get to all the other surrounding areas. And it is cute to see for a day. But yeah.
It's not big enough to go and walk around every day of the week.
The adventure continues.
Another cool thing I've spotted in Trapani is that on pretty much every church, every building, there are these boards that explain exactly what the building is here for and what it's known for. We've come down this random street here on the way back to our apartment, and well, it's on this church as well. I don't even know where the entrance is, but it tells you what it's about. So first impressions of Trapani by night. It has a really cool vibe. It's already getting a little bit cold here, and it's getting a little bit chilly with the wind, but the vibe here is still quite high, and it's only 7 p.m. and it's a Thursday.
Hey, it's the Pope. Grazie.
I saw you open that and went halfway, and I was like, you better carry on.
So we're heading a little bit outside of the city center of Trapani to see some other salt pans and a museum. But we thought it was going to be sunny today, and it's actually, we got in the car and it started pouring with rain, so we'll see if we can see this thing.
Trying to navigate what salt pan belongs to what windmill, and the difference between all of them can be quite confusing. Right now we are at the Museo del Sale, the Museum of Salt, which I actually, fun fact, thought was the one in Marsala, but no, this one is like 2 miles or like 4 kilometers outside of Trapani, and it's the more accessible one. I mean, we've got Erice in front of us, and apparently this one has a similar museum to the other ones. We're about to find out.
It's a bit windy. These salt pans here in Trapani are the oldest in Europe, dating back from around 700 BC. And the reason that you find the salt pans here in Trapani is because first, there's no rain in the summer in June, July, and August. And second, because this is the windiest part of Sicily, and the wind is pretty much the key factor in salt production. And they show you inside the museum all the different mechanisms that are used in the windmill and in the salt production, and it actually is very cool. For €3, this is insane. I think it was a very cool experience.
When we were taking a look at the Marsala windmills, I read that they were the Dutch windmills, the star-shaped windmills. However, today I learned that they're the Arab windmills that are the star-shaped one. So star-shaped windmill lasts about 600 years by the sounds of it. And the one behind me is actually an American windmill, which apparently only lasts for about 50 years because the salt just destroys the entire metal structure. Fun fact, the first American thing that does not last. And a lot of the systems and processes and the counting mechanisms and the mechanisms inside the different windmills and that are all Arabic, which makes sense because the Arabs were here 10 centuries ago. Here at the Museum of Salt, for €1, you can take a walk around their little salt pans and check out the lagoons and the different windmills and the salt piles.
you can actually see that this area is pink.
Standing at the end of the ponds here, you can actually see how shallow the water is. It goes out for like another mile with less than a meter of depth. It just smells like sea salt.
And she was telling us that way back in the day, salt actually used to be how people got paid, which is where the word salary comes from, because sale, salary, so people actually used to get paid in salt, not money, which is nuts because that's how rare it was and that's how expensive it was. So now that we've finished up at the salt pans,
follow the road for
we
1
are
kilometer.
going to, what is it, the most?
It's known as the most important museum in Sicily. It's called, it's actually got quite a long name, Museo Regionale Pepino. That's how you only get there. First impressions of visiting Sicily's most important museum. It's located in the middle of nowhere, and you look like you're going down every wrong street in the city. The museum is in this massive building that takes up a huge portion of the city here, but when you look for the entrance, it's very hard to find. And just around the corner, there's just this tiny door that is the entrance to the entire building. So look for this particular door. The Museo Regionale Agostino Pepoli is an art, archaeology, and local history museum here in Trapani. It was established between 1906 and 1908. From what I understand, the museum that we are in right now is the most important in Sicily. I think it has a collection of a whole bunch of stuff from all over Sicily and has been placed here. And a lot of like the statues in that were in important churches and like stuff that is in all the important buildings that was degrading got brought here and kept in like a display so that you can come and see it all in one museum.
Fardella everywhere.
This museum rivals some of the biggest museums I've actually looked at. I'd compare the size to somewhere around Uffizi in Florence because there is so much space and so many things in here that we don't even know where to begin. The stuff in this section seems to be made from ivory, coral, and cork, which I don't even know how you'd mash those together, but look at this. Coolest thing we've seen in this museum, this massive guillotine behind us with the little basket for the head and the blade. It costs only €6 to enter, and the amount of stuff in there, art, sculptures, paintings, coral, jewelry, pottery, walls, ceilings, everything from the different churches and houses and private collections of guys over the centuries are just a bit mind-blowing. We can't actually take in that much. So if you're a huge museum buff and love to see all this type of stuff, it's definitely worth the trek out here to come and see it, because there is just a whole collection of everything, and it was well worth the money. You see, when you weigh 120 pounds, you order the half-liter white wine. Look at that. It gets bigger, bigger and bigger. Oh yeah. Misha's finding the party tonight.
They just needed to put a straw in this and it would have been good. In Italy, you could go with the house anything and it's still gonna taste just as good. They just gave us these little arancinis. We didn't order them, but they're complimentary. It's so good. It's sitting on like a little tuft of something. Oh, they smell so good. Oh my god. Legit, I think this is the best arancini I've ever had in my life. So an arancini is it's like a fried ball with rice in it, but this definitely has seafood in it. And there's like a white paste under here. I don't even know what this is. This is so good. They put like a little radish and some green cream on top. It's definitely like a fishy arancini, but it is packed with flavor. It's so good.
Couscous de Pesce is one of the famous dishes here from this side of Sicily, and so we had to get it and had to try. From what I understand, this is a fish broth, and as well as the couscous, it's also cooked in a fish broth, and so I'm guessing this one just adds more flavor. Are you ready? It tastes fishy, but actually like a mild fishy, which I can handle. I actually really like it. It's something completely different to what I've tried before. Our friend here, that is our waiter, said that the salt birra messina pairs well with the fish couscous, and they also give you chunks of fish with it. And for a non-fish lover, the fish tastes delicious. It doesn't have bones in. You're not going to find couscous on a lot of the Sicily menus, so you definitely take advantage of that.
I ordered the Busiate alla Trapanese, which is another dish you have to try when you're in Trapani. If you saw our Palermo video, you would have seen this kind of curly pasta. So this is typical for this dish. It has eggplant, it has tomato, it comes with a side of Parmesan cheese. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge Parmesan cheese fan. I know I feel like that's kind of sacrilege being in Italy. So I might go a little light on the dusting. Just gotta try it. And when we asked what pairs the best with this dish, he said white wine, so we got the house white. Let's give it a try. Wow. That is delicious. For a pasta, it feels very light. And it almost looks like there's no sauce on this. It looks actually pretty plain, but it's actually bursting with flavor. And I don't know how they cook this eggplant, but it is delicious. I'm obsessed with eggplant, and it's so soft and it's cooked. It tastes almost perfectly.
In our next episode, we ride a cable car to our final stop in western Sicily as we roam the medieval streets and castles in the misty hilltop town of Erice.